very good evening, Mr. Rishabh.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you some of the questions about your very amazing fireside chat that you just had in the audience. And my question starts with, how was your overall experience in this summit and award ceremony for today?
So I think it has been really good experience and rewarding in a way that got to understand. I think obviously hear from so many people, new perspectives, new viewpoints. Which essentially, if you try to look at from a different lens, right, you get to see that there's so much innovation happening across that you get to hear so many new things that automatically helps in overall perspective around different things which you have been thinking through. So I think people from the risk segment, people from the lending ecosystem, from the NBFC space, how they have been trying to evolve their business models, their revenue models, the innovation solution. I think so it has been overall a very rewarding and a rich experience in terms of understanding about the new things which are coming up.
Yeah. Very amazing, sir. But also, I would like to ask you because one thing that I noticed, there are like a very huge crowd which is coming continuously on your exhibit booth. So, how was their response, and what are the things that you have come across today?
No, actually, I think that has been. I was also. We were not expecting so much footfall also, and maybe I think the reason is at this point in time, because across the NBFC segment, I think that collections and the risk segmentation has become a prime use case, and the digitization of that ecosystem has become very important. So here since we got an opportunity to meet with all the lenders and also the NBFCs, and we were able to demonstrate what exactly we have. So I think that interested them a lot, and hence we could see so much footfall, which was not anticipated, honestly. But yes, maybe I think they also learn about what exactly innovation we are trying to bring in this space, how traditional people approach this, what digitization is helping. So I think that is something which also, like the feedback we are getting is that even like this is one new approach which they have also not seen in the past, and they have been in the same domain since last 20-25 years. But since some people have come to try to even challenge the status quo, I think they're liking it. Yeah.
Very amazing answer. And I would like to ask you one question that is very much relevant for you actually because you are the only person who had a fireside chat in this whole day of summit. Everyone did their alone PPTs, they did their panel discussions, but we came up with a unique idea. So, of course, my next question is, what was the key takeaway from your session today?
A lot of takeaways, I think, as you mentioned about fireside chats. So I have been in the part of a lot of fireside chats earlier as well, but I think this time the role which I had to play was more from a questionnaire front. Like I think I was more asking on the questions, and I think to which I think the answers and the responses were amazing, which we get to understand like from the co-panelist, right, which we had on the far side. He had some 25 years, 30 years of experience in lending. Right. So from his experience, what he told were the data points which we'll use to essentially innovate more. So learning from everyone's experience and getting to hear their viewpoints on how they see this problem statement and what according to them the solution will work, will not work. Maybe that's right or not, but essentially at least you get to hear the viewpoint so that you know what to prioritize and how essentially to position yourselves in terms of the solutioning. So a lot of interesting viewpoints, a lot of interesting ideas, a lot of learnings from the industry's experience. I think so. There are decades of experience sitting out there. So I think it's a lot of meaningful discussions that happened. Yeah.
Very amazing. Also, I noticed there are some couple of questions which came across to you while you are giving your session. So, what was the audience, particularly a feedback about the session of this 20 minutes?
So I think yes, the response, as in that people were attentive and responsive. That too I can say for sure, because I think if you don't have questions, if you are not attending or listening carefully, but yes, that I could see that the response, and even I think there were some questions which due to the lack of time we had to pass over. But I think yes, the response was good. Even after the session, I think I got chased by a lot of people to essentially get some more questions which they had to get answered. So I think the response has been amazing. But maybe yes, the detailed response you will get in your feedback form also. Yeah.
Amazing. So, one question which is specially for you, and we would be very keen to know that what is your view for the future road of NBFC industry implementation for the latest technologies in India as in CEO?
So see, as so I have also been a banker myself in the past. I worked to Deutsche Bank, though not in the Indian ecosystem per se, but yes, at least from a lender's perspective, what we could see that NBFCs essentially came into existence to provide some banking norms, right? So that they can essentially lend out to areas where the banks are not underwriting, etc. and give out loans to underserved segment. And for that matter, I think right now a lot of they are able to flexibly lend and promote this concept of financial inclusion more and more, right? So NBFCs are a crucial part of the entire ecosystem. Whereas I think if you see the current regulations which are coming in, obviously there is some strictness in terms of how to govern them, how essentially to do that. But the role of NBFCs will be very, very crucial in terms of even our present government's viewpoint in terms of expanding the financial inclusion, right? There is an announcement every third day around dispersal of loans. Government will give out loans, but if you see 90-95% of that loans are not been given out till now. And the reason is the banks obviously cannot do it with their current risk appetite. Hence, I think NBFCs will become very important if you have to improve this concept of financial inclusion and give out credit to people where essentially it is required. So very crucial role, and what I feel is that even this split in terms of lending would be heavily tilted towards NBFCs versus banks in future.
Okay, so very amazing. But one thing that we have to learn from you, and we have to actually ask you this question that gives us more knowledge about this NBFC, that is, what are the challenges and opportunities that you see for NBFC industries in upcoming years in India?
Challenges would be regulatory challenges, which are coming in day in day out. So I think that is something which you have to tackle, and you have to, yes, these are very dynamic, and these also give you an opportunity to innovate, right? In terms of a lot of these things also force you to adopt technology. Right, when it comes to, like, for example, the recent norm which has come around FLDG model or the fintech models, it came from RBI. The reason being that they were not getting any comfort on the NPA levels, and the reason obviously became evident that you have to now bring in some technology to automate these things so that they come under control, and cannot be a manual approach to do it. So automatically a lot of these challenges can turn into opportunities automatically. Like if you have implemented some technology solutions, right, automatically will help you in your overall growth also. So it's not only with respect to my regulatory compliance I'm fulfilling it, but also in terms of business it actually helps me. In terms of opportunity, it's a huge opportunity. Like in terms of lending, I would say, like in just to give an anecdote from a developed economy like US, there is a 300 million population base and 1.2 billion credit card base, which essentially means 4 credit card per customer. In India, there is a 1.2 billion population and there is 60 million credit cards. So essentially, you can see that the disparity in terms of the ratio, in terms of how credit is available, is huge. So a lot of these NBFCs are trying to solve for that, and it will obviously they'll be able to do that if the ecosystem remains supportive. Yeah.
So, continuing on that answer itself, but still, I have to ask you this. As per you, what is the India's journey for upcoming NBFC industry as in India?
Yes, I think India would very fastly evolve and reach a level where the credit to GDP ratio, like I think that's a benchmark which is actually told and spoken about. If you compare any developed economy versus developing, what is the penetration of credit? Who is able to get money when they want to? So I think if you see the India's GDP to, credit to GDP ratio is very less, and it's skewed in comparison to all the developed economies. India is catching up because of the innovation on fintech, innovation from the NBFC segment, because they are trying to solve that problem. So I think in terms of overall India as a market, if you see, there is so much VC money which is being pumped into India, so much investments happening in India, and the reason is that it's on the right track. Investment only happens for a reason, that obviously it's on the right track and a very big opportunity to innovate. So we feel that maybe I think at least 5-7 years down the line, it will be at par with most of the developed economies in terms of the financial ecosystem, at least. Yeah.
So I would not ask you any more questions, Rishabh ji. So very thank you for your time and your precious presence in this summit, and have a nice day.